I'm super excited actually to get to follow Josh because some of what I'm going to talk about is across 10 years in our AI and autonomy for strategic advantage portfolio, why have we seen things fail? And what lessons learned can I give to take away that, if you walk away with a few things, here's some keys for what do you need for your AI to be successful. So we work at every level, from the private who's actually going to use what they've told me is the nerd math, to the international military community who's trying to set normative frameworks for how we use things like autonomous capabilities. I have 3 lessons. None of these are sexy AI-specific things. What you should take away from this is we still can't do the fundamentals. And so we can add all the AI on top of it, but if we can't get the basics right, it's not going to matter. The first is it's all about data. I have seen projects fail over and over and over because they don't have the data they think they have, they can't access it, or someone has a data silo or fiefdom that won't talk to each other. My favorite was walking into a command that wanted to do a predictive maintenance algorithm. They had 10 years of maintenance reports on troubles and failures and who had fixed it and what they needed to do it. At the end of the day, every maintenance personnel filled out their report for what they did that day. When we said, great, can we have that data? They pointed to a file cabinet in the corner of the room. Obviously, we already have a huge data entry issue there. Then, when we started to tease into this with their operators and maintenance personnel, it turned out the person who was least in favor that week, at the end of the week, sat down and filled out everyone's reports. We eventually had to tell them, you don't have data, you have a fire hazard. And we see this, we're going to put this into a data lake, which quickly becomes a data swamp because we don't think how we're going to clean it, we don't think how we're going to maintain it, and we don't fund sustainment. Once we've gotten our data, the platform has to work. We call this the boats have to float and the planes have to fly problem. Just because a company can come to you with a really exciting, impressive tech stack, has the PowerPoint that's the validated one everybody's using, doesn't mean they know how to do welds on a boat. And so we see frequently that they get really excited about what tech stack they're building. They're trying to do an autonomous capability, but they're not a company that has ever done the physical metal bending before. And so making sure that those fundamental things don't get lost in our excitement to add AI, that making an autonomous boat will still float, becomes critical. We see it over and over. Another example of this is making sure that you have a way to actually use the system. We have one platform we worked with where they hadn't created a launcher for the system. And so someone in the organization got determined to be the yeeter because it was literally their job to yeet the thing out into the operating environment. That's one way to get it there. Do I want to pull someone off their other tasks so that their job is to throw things into where I need them to be? Probably not. Also real hard to get velocity that way. From there, get users involved early. And I cannot stress this one heavily enough. My favorite story is some of the folks working inside my portfolio walked into Marine Headquarters Quantico, talking with one of the commanders there about a capability we were building for them. They walked in, no hello, no sort of greetings. The first words out of the commanding officer's mouth were, "Can I throw it?" And my colleagues looked at them and, "I beg your finest pardon." And he responds, "They're going to throw it. Whatever it is, it's going through a second-story window. It doesn't matter how important it is. It doesn't matter how exquisite it is. It has to survive a trip through a second-story window." And so we had to go back to our team and say, hey, they're going to throw it. If you're clearing a building and you need to know what's in there, what's a good way to find out? Throw something and see what happens. It makes sense for their use case, but they're going to use it in ways you never anticipated. INDOPACOM and CENTCOM are actually both having really good experiences with this in giving users prototypes early and seeing what they actually do with it to meet mission needs. The Russo-Ukrainian war also has some good examples where we're seeing people do things like strap grenades to jet skis. We never intended to use a jet ski for a grenade, but if I need to send something into a boat, guess what? It's a cheap, inexpensive way to do it. If we can get the users involved in that ideation process, if we can get them using it, breaking it, helping us redesign it early, we're going to be able to get systems that work. This is also true in understanding our workflows. We may not need to blow something up, right? We may need to deliver a product to a customer. We may need to be faster at delivering IRS tax returns, right? But we have to know how we do that, and we have to know how our users and operators are actually doing that. If you were in my talk this morning, you heard me say that whatever your SOP is not how it's actually done. In the DoD, what we see is an action officer 4 action officers ago figured out that this works, and now it's been passed on through oral tradition, so that's how we do it today. If you don't know that that's how we do it today, building something that goes in step B isn't going to help you because we stopped doing step B 4 action officers ago. In all of that, the really important thing is understanding that these are human capabilities that humans have to be able to use. If you do not understand your user needs, if you don't know what data you have, and if you don't have a platform that works, it doesn't matter how good your AI is. You fundamentally will not build a system that works. And until we can do those things, we're not gonna move ahead. This might drop the mic. Thank you.